Hi. Okay, we are going to talk today about interest and money and different interesting topics that are going to be really useful to your future life when you become an adult and you start making an income and you want to figure out how you should manage your finances or manage your money. So, let's look at two different formulas. One formula is called simple interest. Simple interest is going to be really simple to calculate. Ooh, look at that, simple interest. Compound interest is going to require a little bit of a different process when you're using that formula. So think about it as simple interest is pretty simple to calculate. You're multiplying those three variables that you see in the formula. Compound interest, you have parentheses, you have an exponent. Let's talk about that. Let's say that we are going to borrow $675. Maybe we're buying a expensive piece of technology and we want to borrow $675. So if we're going to borrow that at a 10% interest rate, and we're going to pay this off over a span of 6 years, how much money are we spending in interest? Now, you might be asking, what does that even mean? Like, what is interest? Well, let me give you a really simple example. Let's say that you come to me and you're like, hey, can I borrow $5? And I say, yeah, sure, no problem. You can borrow my $5. So then I give you $5. Well, eventually I'm going to come to you and be like, hey, are you going to return my money to me? Like, I let you borrow $5. You owe me more. You owe me money back. So when you are collecting money from somebody else that you had allowed to borrow some of your money, you're not going to want just the original $5 that I originally loaned out to you. You're going to say that I want my $5 back plus interest. Okay, so that interest is whenever you are getting a little bit more, and that's kind of like a perk to allowing somebody to borrow money. Okay, so when I come to you and I say, I need my money back, I'm going to say, I need $5 plus, I don't know, an additional $2, right? So total, you're going to give me $7 in return. Okay. Um, Now, this is a very basic example, but I just want you to understand what interest is. It's a way for me to say, I did let you loan, I did let you borrow that $5, and now I would like to receive a perk so that maybe in the future I can let you borrow more money again because I know that you're going to pay me back with interest. Okay. So let's look at this first example here. If we were to calculate this using our simple interest formula. So I is the interest that we're going to earn. P is your principal or starting amount. In this case, we're starting by borrowing $675. Okay. R is your rate. That is your interest rate. An interest rate in this example is going to be 10%. You have to convert your percent into a decimal. Percents are out of 100. So if we were to write that as a fraction, that's 10 over 100. If we go ahead and write that in its decimal form, that's 0.1. So I'm going to multiply my principal amount, which was $675, times that 10% interest rate, so zero point 0.1. And we're going to multiply that by t. T is time. So how much time am I saying that I'm going to repay this $675? We're saying over a span of 6 years. So we're going to multiply this by 6. All right, this formula is very simple. All you have to do is multiply. So go ahead and type into your calculator. Hopefully it's pulling up right here on the video feed. We have $675 times our interest rate times the time, which is 6 years. So I just calculated $405. What does that represent? So the $405 is how much interest, okay? That's how much interest we're going have to pay back. In addition to how much money you borrowed. So 405 is the penalty that you pay for not having the $675 initially to purchase whatever it is that you were wanting to buy. This is why like people can get into a habit where they're spending money that they don't really have, and then later on you're paying so much in interest that it's really a lot of money. So if we wanted to find out like the total amount that we're spending, it ends up being that we would add our principal. So if we're going to add the 675 to that $405, that means total with simple interest, we're paying $1,080. That's a lot of money in return when you initially borrowed $675. Okay, I want to do this process, and again, we're going to compare it though, because now we're going to look at compound interest. How does compound interest works using the same numbers that we just used with simple interest? So we're still going to borrow $675 at a 10% interest rate for a span of 6 years. So our principal was $675 times 1 plus our rate. Remember that your rate is going to be represented in decimal form. So 1 plus 0.1 raised to the power of time. So at an exponent of 6 years. So we're going to type this into our calculator. 1.1, that was 10% to the power of 6. Okay, let me show you. We got 675, our principal, 1 plus our rate of 10% to the 6th power. That's going to be 1,000. $1,195. Guys, when you're talking about money, you're going to round to the hundredths place because we have coins. We have the ability to make change. So that's going to be 2 numbers after the decimal. Now, you'll notice already, hopefully you notice, when you're looking at compound interest, your final value that we're getting, the $1,195.80, that is already including the principal that you borrowed. So that's one of the differences between these two formulas. Did you hear that? With compound interest, our formula is already going to include the principal amount. So if we wanted to, we could subtract 675 to see how much money did we actually spend on interest alone. So when we subtract that, we're getting $520.80. So using the same numbers that we did with our simple interest, we see here that simple interest is going to be less money that you're paying in interest, right? Because if we compare that to the compound, you're saving like $115 if you were able to get a simple interest loan. And then when we compare that to the total price, you're seeing here compound interest, you're going to end up spending more money. And in most scenarios, you will be looking at compound interest to calculate how much money you're spending whenever you borrow from someone.